Okay, hello and welcome everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Having some good times here. All right. Um, so this is a painting that I started yesterday in response to the death of a friend's cat who has hired me to work on this piece. And it is a cat that is a very well-known cat in a very popular neighborhood in Los Angeles, California, in Hollywood specifically, literally just a block up from Hollywood Boulevard, where you can actually see the Hollywood sign. And this piece is a portrait of that cat with obviously with some creative liberties taken. And this is a little bit different than what I would normally do. What I would normally do is something a bit more, a lot more abstract stuff, maybe not so figurative, but I have decided for this piece that we're going to get a little bit more into a semi-realistic mode. So that's the goal with this piece. But as you can see, I've already laid down a significant amount of color, and at this point, I have a couple of references that I want to use. And at this point, the main areas of color, the main spaces of color have already been been placed. So now it's all about just finding the right colors to paint over it with. And with that, I do expect to have a variety of colors on it. But for now, hold on one second. I gotta see what's on my screen here. All right, so now it's about finding just the right colors to go into our space here. So I'm thinking of a whitened yellow red, like a lightened yellow red. What's up, Morgan Smith? Don Drell, peace, my friend, peace. Don Drell. Don Drell, the man who is an innovator in the world of portrait drawing and figures. A brilliant drawing artist. And totally amazing stuff. So, Morgan, thank you for enjoying the painting. Daxton, thank you for enjoying the painting. Definitely, I also want to share that. So this is actually based on a real life cat that has since passed. This cat is a icon, or was an icon in Hollywood, in this one neighborhood just outside of Hollywood Boulevard. And it was an icon, a neighborhood cat that many would see. And it has since passed. And I knew the owner, or I know the owner, and the owner has hired me to do this painting. And with that, I am building up the painting, starting with some. How long has it took? I think it took about 2 hours yesterday so far. Anthony Travis, good work. So far it took about 2 hours as of yesterday, just to get the main sketch down. Honestly, I don't think whenever I get asked the question about like how long has this taken or how long did this painting take or whatever, I always like need to add this one caveat that whenever an artist gets asked like how long a piece takes, You know, I always think that an artist should say, you know, there's the time that it took me to actually just technically, physically make the painting, but there's also the time and effort that gets put in all before the painting even gets made, of like planning and thinking and just constantly brainstorming and of course training. But you know, training everybody's got to do. But when it comes down to artwork, you know, every artist will have a unique take on something that others won't. And I think it's that, even if this were to take like 2 hours, you know, it's not reflective of all of the things that come into play. But the reason why I even share my time publicly, I mean, I could make it up and say, oh, this took me 2 weeks just to get to this point. But I document all my processes, and all my processes are documented painting wise. So you know, I can't really lie about the time that it takes me to do things because of that. However, I would totally I do need to add that caveat that, you know, it's the hundreds of hours that come before a very specific painting that really adds to that painting. So anyway, gotta go. Daxton's gotta go. You love the painting. Keep up. Thanks so much. But Daxton, thanks so much, dude, and thanks for stopping by. It's awesome to have you here. So here we go. We're gonna go in with another flat color over this yellow. And this flat color is a mix of our yellow ochre and yellow combination that we have going on here. And just building on top of this yellow. I don't usually like to use too bright of a yellow because it's such a bright, powerful, bright color. And it can really, whenever I have like bright colors on a canvas, I always know that it's possibly taking away from something. So I'm trying to neutralize this yellow a little bit by adding this overcolor. And if you're you know, an experienced painter, you probably know what I'm doing is basically I used the yellow as an undercolor to establish like this color region. But I also used, but if you're a newer artist and you don't really know what I did a version of something called an underpainting. This isn't exactly the way an underpainting is done, but basically I created a foundational layer that helps to establish the base color. And with oil paints, there's two ways of this, right? Like I can wait a couple days and let the yellow totally dry, and that at that point the yellow won't affect my painting. But as of right now, the yellow's still a little bit wet, which means just a tiny bit wet, which means that it will affect the colors that I mix them on. But traditionally, you would want to probably wait until this undercolor is off or is dry. But hey, take care, Morgan Smith. Thanks so much, and everybody who's still here, be sure to check out Dondrell Lee Artistry's channel. He is an amazing artist out of Los Angeles, California. And if you ever just want some very interesting words, very inspiring words of wisdom, along with some unique and creative expressions and interpretations of figures and design and abstraction of faces and stuff like that, I mean, totally check out his channel, Dondrell Lee Artistry. I think you should be able to like tap his image in this window somewhere on the chat and visit that. But reason why I'm even randomly promoting his channel right now is you know, I feel like it's important to share other artists' work, to share them when the opportunities arise. And you know, I think more that can happen on a day-to-day basis with artists all around. And not just like, so I was on Reddit today actually, and part of the reason why I feel inspired to talk about this is because so I'm on Reddit, and I feel like a lot of artists automatically gravitate to the person who like has the biggest streams or the biggest numbers, or like only the teachers, like the Reddit teachers or the YouTube teachers, or people that like show you how to like make paint or whatever. But and then you see people like promoting, and I'm like, you know, there should definitely be people who are looking at that artists, you know, people who make art on YouTube just for the sake of making art on YouTube, and not to like to offer a course or anything. Nothing against that. I'm just saying, you know, it was just obvious that the majority of the people that were being shared on the platform on Reddit were people that are like teachers or something, which is fine. I mean, everybody's got to find a way to, you know, make their art, whatever that is. But I also think that there's some amazing, talented artists, such as Dondrell, that paint for the love of painting, paint just to be in an online community, and you know, paint to of course, right? He's building his own creative, artistic business. But since I mentioned teachers earlier, but at the same time, you know, some people that just have that love of art, that love of painting. All right, so I've got this really. I don't usually paint this flat, by the way. This is actually fairly new to me, building out a painting like this. I usually like to just like dive in and be a bit more expressive with my artwork. A bit more expressive, a bit more playful. But I also find it important in my own creative efforts to do a little bit of both. To both do the work that I find expressive, a very a representative of myself, my mind, capturing the art for the sake of art, and not just like, you know, to paint the picture. And I think that this is allowing me to work that other side of the brain, something a bit more technical, a little bit more design focused, a little bit more more realist, but not like totally realist. That's not what I'm going for. I'm not going to paint every single little hair on this figure. And I should have brought more paint. I can already tell that this is going to be a bit, this color is going to be a bit, different, but yeah, it's going to be, it'll be noticeable to the very discerning eye, but I don't think it's going to be noticeable enough that it has a overall negative effect that pulls the viewer's attention away. So again, this yellow is really just going to influence the base of this color. The base of this color. And we're going to continue building upon this base. I'm going really, really fat with this paint. In a sense of yesterday, when I laid down this initial color, it was very thin. The paint was very thin. And again, I know that there are some people who watch this who know what I'm talking about, but for those of you that don't, it's just, you know, just a reminder that when I say thin, when you work with oil paints, you basically have two things. You have what's going to thin your paint, which is traditionally turpentine. I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't use turpentine. Or like a mineral spirit. There's another ingredient that causes your paint to thin so that you could spread it easily. and it also helps it to dry faster. But it also reduces the lastingness of your paint. So you use that for the very first layer of your painting because ultimately you're going to paint on top of it, and eventually, the idea is that you pretty much don't see the majority of what's you paint underneath or the colors underneath. It's just there to like establish a color area. And you might have like some artists purposely will miss a space, like say some other artists might purposely leave this open right here. You can tell there's a transition between yellow and this other color I have. And they might purposely leave that just to show what's underneath. And they do that with like really unique colors like red. Like a red would really stand out in this situation, or something else. But this right now, again, just building on top of this yellow, painting over it, giving it a flat color. I will say, if you are curious, for those of you that are actually curious about so Don Drell says, Emmett, as an artist as well as an actor, do I think how we dress matters? Don Drell, I think for sure how we dress matters. But I think to that extent, I think that how you dress needs to fit the brand. Whatever brand it is that you develop, and I think you need to fit the location. But definitely, I mean, I think especially in Los Angeles, not just as like an artist or an actor, but I think especially in Los Angeles, why not dress a little bit more however you feel is your unique expression. I mean, I think anyone should just dress however, like, whatever they feel is right for the situation and their brand wherever they live, but especially in LA, I think it's pretty much like expected that it's like, oh, this person's an artist. It makes sense, right? This person has a unique way of being stylish. Like, there's nothing weird about it or like unusual. Now, my question really would be, my question that I often ask, and my philosophy on it might be a little different, is so my question is, if you go to a gallery, now that's the question. If you're opening at a gallery, can you still dress in your own personal style? Now, I think some people have a style that's appropriate for pretty much anything, even though it's casual, while some people, such as myself, I have a style that is not appropriate for all occasions, and the only time I would dress a certain way, mostly in my style, is to like make a statement. Like, first day I did for one of my group shows, I wore a suit, but I didn't overdress and wear like a suit and tie. But at the same time, another day I wore sandals. So I guess it's like, I think definitely a modern artist today should definitely find their balance between, being a professional, but also creating a unique style. Or even like not even a unique style. Maybe, the idea came from somewhere else. Like, I was thinking that I would wear a suit to paint because, I know Basquiat would paint in his suits a lot. Now, I'm not, I know there's a lot of artists that have painted in suits. I think Francis Bacon painted in suits. A lot of classical artists from like Impressionists, Toulouse-Lautrec painted in suits. So, but I never went with that. It's too hot to paint in California with a suit on sometimes. And yeah, but I had that idea. And then is a suit really appropriate for every event? I don't know. But also, like, Basquiat was painting in the 80s. I think, the culture, the lifestyle, it was so different back then that, Venice today is, and I'm just thinking about, like, where you paint out in Venice. Venice today is different than Venice, like, 80 years ago, you know? I'm sure the art scene in Venice back then was like even way, way wilder, way looser, way more avant-garde. I heard Venice used to have a like its own circuit, not circus, but like a, I don't want to use this term, but a show, and they called it like it was like a bar, or it was like a Barnum and Bailey, where people would show up that were very unusual, that had a variety of unique qualities about them. Let's just put it that way. So PJs, yeah, PJs. Hey, I would totally wear. I've totally worn PJs. So I actually had this audition for a very big reality show, and I was dressed nice at the top, and I was dressed nice at the top, but I wore my boxers for the bottom. And at one point, the producers were like, "Hey, can you go move that thing in the background?" And of course, I had to get up and go move that thing in my boxers. And I don't actually know if they saw, or if they only saw like a couch, but that's not something I recommend. I think this goes back to the that's not something again, definitely not something I recommend. I'm not saying that's something you should do. I did not get booked for that reality show, so that, says something. But um, at the same time, that's how I feel about that. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that ever since COVID have started working in their underwear. So there's that. Okay, here we are. I'm mixing this color here, and it just feels like it's just getting lighter and lighter as we go. Thank you, thank you. The underpainting tone worked well. All right, we're gonna go. Need some more of this. I'm gonna miss this yellow when I don't have it anymore. This is an Azo Yellow Deep, which I guess I could just buy it, but I guess I could just buy this exact color. But I have so many other colors that I feel like I need to go with, and like every time I use like a new set of paints. This one came from the Royal Talens Van Gogh brand. Yeah, I mean, in LA, how we dress totally matters, but not necessarily in the way we think. I mean, just in general, humanity. I mean, we just respond to how people dress, right? It's an instant interpretation of who we are, and yeah. But here's the question: how much do we care about how we dress? How much should we care? That I don't know. I mean, like I was a wedding painter, and I was hired to do this wedding, and they're like, yeah, you can dress whatever you want. You're an artist, you can paint. You can come here, paint, dress. And you know what? I made a decision to wear a suit. I could have tried to stand out at the wedding, and be the cool artist guy. But at one point I was like, it's not about me. And it was a it was a very nice wedding, lots and lots of people, and I think it was the right decision to not try to show my creative dressing self, right? I'll save that for my YouTube channel. But yeah, I think about how I should dress all the time. I mean, to be honest. Hey, thanks, Somizu. Thanks for popping in. Hope you're doing great. Yeah, how did your painting session come along? I didn't get to stay for the whole thing. I'm gonna bring this down. so that we can set it so that it doesn't move. So I do want to say, Omizu, thank you for the super the other day, because I did buy some new paints today, and you helped me afford a tube of paint. I found a great set of tubes for sale, for some very deep discounts. A 37 milliliter tube of yellow for just about how much you shared on the super. So thank you the other day. That's where your generous donation has gone. Your generous super donation has gone to a wonderful set of paints, which will eventually make it onto a canvas. I just ordered it today, and yes. Did I see the green line you added? No, I did not see the green line you added. I was on your live fairly briefly. I actually was like in the middle of a nap when I like pulled up my phone. I was just like, something just kind of like shocked me awake briefly, and I was like, oh, I should just go visit Omizu's channel real quick. And this was before I was like laying in bed, just before. And I was like, I should go check out, see how Omizu's painting is coming along that we were working on. And, I popped in, chatted for a second when you were there. And then, I didn't fall asleep during your stream, but I, was like in and out. So I didn't totally get to see everything that you did. I think the last thing you were working on was the illustration. You were rotating your canvas for the that animal. I forgot what color was it, an elephant? It's an elephant you were working on. I am painting way slower, by the way, than I usually paint. This is a much slower process. It's not all about speed, but there's something that to be said about, like, I love painting fast, because you get to get out of your own head, right? Like right now, I feel like this is a very technical thing I'm doing. I could hire an assistant and be like, hey, take this color and just paint over the yellow spaces very neatly, right? I could tell them exactly what to do, and they would know exactly what to do. And I don't think that there's truly anything unique, or not unique, but there's anything truly representative of myself as an artist in this section, except color choices and things like that. But it is rewarding in itself. I enjoy this better than when I did the full tape painting. The painting where everything was taped. I had all the tape already laid across, and I had to paint between each and every tape line. I have to say that process was not too enjoyable, but this is. But also, when I paint fast, I feel like I'm truly capturing a piece of myself within a painting. I love the idea of that bold expression, but at the same time, I like painting like this because it helps to pull me back, helps me to pull me out of it, to switch up my mind a bit, to switch up my thinking. So Amizu says, do I have a website? Yes, I have a website. It's huzzahcreative.com. HUZZA creative.com. But I want to warn you ahead of time that Huzzah Creative is the huzzahcreative.com is a Beacons website. So it's not like an official, like, grand website with a portfolio page and you could do all of those things. There's a small portfolio, not with all of my latest pieces, but it has the main links that you need. Beacons. I use Beacons for my website because I don't know, I just feel that's easier. Like, when people pop onto my page, I could build a website. I know how to use WordPress. It probably costs more to have a Beacons membership than just pay for an annual fee of WordPress. I think an annual fee of WordPress is like $80, $90 versus my Beacons. I pay about $10.99 a month. So, Beacon's even more expensive as far as cost wise. I'm not cheaping out on my web development. It's just I find it so much easier. I find it more modern and intuitive, and it has all the functions of a typical website, right? Like I can make a portfolio page that's not all nice from a desktop, but it looks good. It gets the point across. It shows you what I can do. I can include other pages where I don't have to manage my own store. I can just direct people to where they can purchase my stuff, which is just as great. But yeah, so just a heads up. But I also do want to share because Mizu was talking to me about this the other day. He was asking me about like websites and stuff. And I've built WordPress websites. I've had at least a few dozen WordPress websites that either I made for blogging or for different projects I was doing. And Mizu was asking about it, and you know what? I've reached a point where I'm like, dude, I don't like. It's hard to just go and pop into WordPress on my phone and then add a portrait, a new painting that I just did. And then it's hard to just like pop into WordPress and be like, hey, let me just send an email out to the people that are signed up that want to hear back, right? You got to have like a plugin and all those things. But I feel like with Beacons, it allows me to include all the links. Allow, as you mentioned the other day, John Drill, you mentioned that, you just want, as far as your book, I think you mentioned something like, you really just, some of the logistics was challenging and you just wanted to be able to paint. And although managing website I don't think it's that difficult, I feel like Beacons is so great because I could just pop it in my phone, update my link if I ever need to change the name, if I ever need to add an Instagram or change my Instagram or like change the photo. It's just so easy. And although again it doesn't look like a full-on portfolio website with an active store and all that, it has all the functions, all the functionality. Now, will I ever go to WordPress? I don't know, probably. I'll probably go to WordPress one day. But right now it's not an urgency. I mean, I think out of all the things, that's the most important thing to be connected to people is probably Instagram. Unless, unless unless you want to be known for a very specific type of painting to be commissioned for, which, like like if you wanted to be totally just dedicate an entire website to painting pet portraits, then you could like build a vlog, you could write a vlog, you could constantly write, you want, or if you want to do like wedding paintings, or if you want to do like pet portraits only, or if you wanted to do like, family photography, then I think a website give you a little bit of an edge because you can get that directory on search engines, where if someone looks up pet portrait artist in Los Angeles, California, you can pop up because you have the better SEO. You have the options for SEO. But again, that's a whole separate thing that I'm like, all right, I know it's easy enough that I'm not gonna like hire an entire marketing team to do for me SEO, because all SEO is using words to get people interested in your work. So if you're a pet portrait artist, all SEO is writing a bunch of words and pages on your website that make people know that you are a portrait artist, and then getting the links to those out onto the internet. That's all SEO is. But uh, but at the end of the day, or like any type of very specific commissionable artist. But you know, like us, Dondrell, you, me, um, uh, Omizu to an extent. Omizu, I know you do like, you know, you're very known for pop, or used to do mostly pop art, and you do specific illustrations. So that's different. But I think for art, like general art, fine art, um, you know, depending on what levels you're at, a full-on website, you know, it's nice, but I don't think it's not necessary for me. But also, you know, I think for IG, like I just had a client, like one of the first clients I really got that was hiring me to do paintings. They didn't want to know. They're like, "Do you have a website?" And I was like, "You know, the best way to stay connected is on my Instagram." And they contacted me directly. You know, if they go to somebody goes to your website, and I'm just rambling on about how I feel about websites versus social media. You know, someone goes to your website, they have to like look for your email. They have to find like the contact info box. They have to, you know, type in an email into your email address, or type into the comments section, and you might miss those comments. Or they have to like look for the social media page, the social media link on your page. But on Instagram, people just contact me directly. Now, I will say, if you're a huge artistic influencer, like you have over, you know, 500,000 followers, or even 100,000 followers, and you can't keep up with the amount of DMs that you're getting on Instagram, then I think websites can be very helpful, because they create this little barrier between you and uh, people that actually want to purchase your work, which is important. You know, you want to stay connected with them, but they can't get to you if you don't see their messages. And then it helps to create a barrier between those people and, you know, the people that don't actually want to buy your work, but they just want to talk to you, which, you know, nothing wrong with that. Just at the end of the day, you know, just thinking about these huge influencers. I mean, I think somebody did the math. I think someone like Rihanna has like, Alexa, how many followers does Rihanna have on Instagram?
Rihanna has 108,246,000.
Alexa off. All right, Alexa has 1 million. Alexa, how many followers does Rihanna have on Instagram?
Rihanna has 108.
Okay, cancel. Alexa off. So Rihanna has, Alexa off. Rihanna has 108 million followers. Now I doubt any artist, any like visual artist, can reach that amount of followers. But let's even take like 1% of that. If you have 1 million followers and like you get 1,000 messages a day, there's no way. Like, and 1 million, 1% of a million is 10,000. So if you got 0.1% of your followers messaging you a day, you would not be able to keep up with that. You would literally take, if you give Alexa, how many minutes is 1,000 seconds?
1,000 seconds is 16 minutes and 40 seconds.
All right, you would spend 15 minutes a day just filtering through messages, which 15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but no one wants to spend 15 minutes to filter through 1,000 messages unless they're being paid to do so. And that's like on the low end. So I don't know, that's my theory. Yeah, and you know, it's cool if somebody just wants to talk to you, you know? I mean, whatever. The way you wrote that is hilarious. They just want, yeah, it's like, they just want to talk, you know? I mean, I think for the most part, like, yeah, it's just funny. Just want to talk. All right. Well, anyway, that's my thoughts. You know, I know there's this website called Art Storefronts, and they're really pitching their $5,000 or $10,000 service. And I'm not saying it's not worth it, but I think if you know like technical stuff, if you're familiar with like computers and things, then realize what they're charging. It's a little bit outrageous. But I don't know. I think a lot can be done with other things. I used to get a lot of ads for art storefronts. I will say that, by the way, you know what? I'll take that back. What they charge for their services is not that much. It's not. I don't think it's outrageous. But what I think is outrageous is the fact that they promote as a, hey, we'll do this stuff for you for free, and then there's this huge fee tacked on top. That's what I think is unethical. That's what I don't like. So that's why I feel I have the right to crap talk art storefronts right now. I've never used them, but all I know is that all I get is ads from them that say, hey, you want this beautiful website that's going to help you sell art, and we will build your website for free, no charges, whatever, sign up. And then, the only thing I've ever heard people say about them is that they have a huge fee to just do these couple of simple things that I think artists, I don't know. And then I think a lot of their artists end up getting into their program, and their big thing is that they dedicate their time to marketing for art storefronts. They probably have like an affiliate program or something. I don't know. But this is my rant on art storefronts. And then it's like, are you going to be the artist, or are you going to be a affiliate or marketer for art storefronts? Nothing wrong with that. But again, I just don't like how they market that. It's like, hey, we'll do this for you for free, but we're actually going to charge you. So very, very highly deceiving, and that is annoying. Now, if they were to say, hey, up front, like, this is going to cost some money, and this is exactly how much it costs, $5,000, $10,000, then I'd be like, okay, whatever. That's what they do. But because they have chosen to go the route of being of advertising as a free thing, I feel that they should be highly criticized. Honestly, I think that people are always scamming. Yeah, I mean, and what? Supposedly they're like a legitimate business, right? But I just don't agree with the processes. But hey, the person who owns and runs art storefronts, he's probably making tons and tons and tons of money. He probably makes a lot of money off of artists. So, whatever. I think that whatever they do, I mean, there's so many ways to do it easier. Or I don't know. I mean, if you hire somebody to do it for you, it can actually be pretty hard, because you have to go back and forth and tell them exactly what you want and how you want to build. I don't know how customized they do it. And then, you got to figure out how to manage the store, because then you have like this team of people that are going to manage the store for you. And, if you're bringing in tons of money from prints, and you're bringing in, if you've really honed down on your social media practice, and, you've got a real booming virtual business going already, then it might be worth to start thinking about how you're going to have people on your team. But admittedly, I even have not reached a point where I need assistance. I mean, it'd be nice. I hire like someone I've hired people through Fiverr every once in a while to do certain things. Like I might have them edit a couple of videos, or I might have them proofread a couple of blogs or whatever that I wrote. But as far as like having somebody manage an entire website for you, including a shop, through a company, rather than just hiring your own assistant, I mean, that just seems like a lot. I don't know. It seems like a lot of work for me. When I can just go on and create a big kids website to link to a bunch of stuff. And yeah, I mean, I think Instagram's great. So Don Drill says, it's bogus. People always scamming. Yeah. That's my little business spiel there. So here we go. Anyway, again, I'm not, just for the record, disclaimer, this is not saying that art storefronts is bad, or that they actually do anything that's unethical as far as their actual business is concerned. But I will say, what I can say for a fact, is that I get ads from Art Storefront that claim to provide this free thing where they do stuff for you, and I know for a fact that they end up charging for their service. So that, I don't know, is that technically unethical if there's the loophole that, you know, you sign up for the free thing, they give you the free thing, but they also have all of these other things that you basically have to pay for in order for it to function? Is that totally misleading? I mean, yes and no, but you know, we all have to determine what we find as the truth, right? And although, you know, I could possibly, from a sales perspective, business perspective, I could figure out how they could justify it. I personally do not find it very ethical. So because of that, you know, anyway, but hey, this is being in the world of art. You know, we all got to value our own services. They are a very premium service, and the things that I've seen that they do are actually pretty good. Like, I see their end result of some of their websites that they build, very good. But again, why do they have to advertise like that, right? Why do they have to advertise as something that's this free thing that they just love helping artists build a business, but it's not. That's the part I don't want. Don't you appreciate the breakdown? Yeah. All right. Gosh, I look at these kittens. I'm seeing these kittens, and they are very adorable. Let me take a photo, because I can't. I guess I could move the camera here. Here, let's show some kittens right now. We'll do a little break here from this strenuous painting session that I just did. This is so my girlfriend went to Russia. This is a gift that she got from Russia. Obviously, it is a religious piece. Now, I do not identify as Russian Orthodox Catholic, but it is a beautiful piece. I mean, you know, I think religious artwork is pretty fascinating. Again, I do want to say that I am personally not. It is just a souvenir that was purchased from my girlfriend's trip to Russia. You know, I have some other pieces as well from other countries, but anyway, here we go. Who wants to see some kittens? Look at these little kitties. Are y'all curious? What are you curious about? What's going on, huh? Hey, talk to the cameras, y'all. Talk to the cameras. Got anything to say? Got anything to say, you two? What's going on? Look at this one just hanging off. Her head's just hanging off. I've always wondered how cats hang off of their perches. What other art? Here's some interesting art. For those of you that may not know, if you don't know where Pablo Picasso got his original inspiration from, as far as his development of art, of his, what's it called, his cubism, the story goes he was at a dinner with some very wealthy clients of his, very wealthy art patrons of his, and he was in the room with Henri. There's two Henris. There's Henri Matisse, and then there's Henri. Henri. If anyone can help me out here, Henri something. Henry. Oh, Henri Manet. I think it was Manet. Manet. Anyways, Vincent or again my people. Pablo Picasso was at this dinner with this other artist, very well-known artist, and this other artist went to this dinner with a statue that he had just purchased from Africa. Now, my partner purchased these from, I don't know if she got them from Cabo Verde, Cape Verde on the west area of Africa, or from her visit to South Africa. But Henri Rousseau, yes, I think that was it. He was at a dinner with Henri Rousseau, and Henri Rousseau pulled out this mask that was from his visit to Africa. And the story goes that Pablo Picasso was so fascinated by this mask. It was a very tribal mask, that Picasso was just like so obsessed with this mask that he created this entire style of cubism from it. I don't know. I've actually, this just made me think of it just now, but I've actually never looked up what the mask was that came with that mythology, that lore, that story, about the development of what inspired Picasso's cubism. But one day I should probably look that up. I should look up what mask that was specifically. I think it was Rousseau. It was either Rousseau or it was maybe it was Manet. Who knows? I can't remember all these. There's so many things, so many artists to remember. Honestly, I think it's like one of those things where if I just thrown out a name, like you wouldn't even know. You would just assume that I was right. But unless you truly knew the story. Anyway. Whew. I feel like I've done so much yet so little. Like it's already been over 45 minutes and all I've painted was over this yellow with the dark color. That's the one thing I'm not too big of a fan of this specific painting style where, you know, you paint layer by layer by layer by layer, is that it takes a long amount of time. Actually, and you might be some super elite painter out there might be like, well, you're lazy. Why don't you have no patience? Why don't you want to wait? But you know what? The entire evolution of painting happened from the Impressionists. This has been happening since the Impressionists, of people needing to figure out how to output more artwork faster. There was higher demand for painting starting from like the 1700s, after the classical painting period. It's a higher demand for paintings. People had to know how to put out paint much faster. Hey, that's the invention of acrylic paint, right? It dries so fast. So that's my argument there. But again, I mean, it all depends. I'm not totally a fan of this style of building these layers upon layers, because of the fact that not only do I lose some expression in it, but also that it takes a very long amount of time, but it is a rewarding amount of time if it's the painting that you want to do. Like, I actually do like when I see how these colors transform and how this painting just builds and builds and builds. But at the same time, the loss of some of the expression, along with the loss of 50 minutes to paint 2 rectangles, I feel is a bit much. But anyway, I've answered a lot of questions. My goodness, it's amazing to have Corey as a dedicated art historian, because it seems that we have heard similar stories, and the stories that I talk about. So it's great to have you and be able to bounce the story off of. But I just love hearing how some artists come to their style, especially like, Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol created his his Campbell's Soup tomato can, his iconic Campbell's Soup tomato can, because he was like looking for advice from other people. He's actually asking other people like for things of what he should paint. And I think the story goes, I don't know who it was that told him, but they're like, why don't you just paint like a soup can? And that's how he did it. It wasn't something that came out of his own mind. It wasn't like You know, just him just sitting there staring at objects in his home and thinking so deeply and profoundly about what can transform the entire fabric of modern art. But someone was like Campbell's soup, tomato soup can, and it blew up, just like that. Beautiful story, right? Like, I love it. I love that it wasn't some deep, profound reflection on this concept of modern art, and like, you know, it's just like brilliant. So Michael Wilbur, what's up? Most artists from the 16th century were painting for a living. Today it's more of a hobby. Yeah, that too. You know, painting is a hobby, painting is a living. But you know, I think it's also like, you know, this competitive thing of business wise. I'm not talking about a competitive thing like artist to artist, but I mean like, you know, there's like these painting farms that paint mass amounts of art in, like, I don't know, China, I hear, is known for this, where they like have these mass productions of artwork, even handmade artwork, not just machine made artwork, and there's that level of competition. Oh yeah, I still have one more section of paint. All right, let's go there. Hey, sorry, coworker saw you staring at the window, Ness. Have you ever thought about painting before? Huh. Yeah, hey, Dondra, can you expand on that story? Are you able to expand on that story? Like, oh, you are going to expand. She quit 2 days later, 2 weeks later, staring out the window again. You hear her voice and the same question. Wow, so that's how you got started painting. That's amazing. I'm sure. So I want to know, what I'm curious about is, what were you staring out the window about? If you don't mind sharing, what was that all about? Was it deeply contemplative? Were you like observing and just deeply thinking about life and that, or was it just, yeah, how was that? But it's great because it's like just that one single moment, you know, these little moments of inspiration, like Picasso's dinner with Henri Rousseau, or um, you know, of course, it's many, many years in development. I mean, Picasso was an artist for like 20 years before he came across that dinner to develop Cubism, or or what's his name? Andy Warhol was already a very successful commercial artist in advertising before he ever came across the idea to paint a Campbell's tomato soup can. So, you know, there are those factors as well. But I think at the end of the day, we can all appreciate a good story like that. You were tired of the rat race. Yeah, and you want to change your life. You were tired of the rat race. Oh my gosh, the rat race, right? Oh, was it like one of those things you were sitting at work and you like didn't want to be there? It was like one of those situations, like just totally sick of being in the office, and then just thinking about what it was like to just be outside. One of those situations. So you started painting because you were bored in kindergarten, and you painted one of the kids in class and sold it to them for lunch money. That's amazing. Sounds like sounds like destiny. I actually stopped painting for a very long time. You know, I was actually, when I was a kid, I would draw a lot. Uh, but I would draw like things that were not very appropriate, and I got in trouble for that. And I just like, eventually I just stopped, and I stopped until I became an adult. I was in other arts. And whatever. So here we go, painting this area, continuing to build across this space here, building up our color. So in case anybody is wondering, how am I picking these colors? I did talk about how the yellow was just a basic foundational color. If you are curious specifically about some of the inspiration for the actual color ideas itself, there's two paintings. Let me see if I can pull up their names. I don't actually know their names. I just have them up here as a reference. But let me see. So the first color palette that I'm using, or like the color inspiration, as far as the background goes, I'm gonna share this. This is exclusive that I'm sharing on my live stream. Is this painting? It is a painting. Well, this is a triptych. Alexa, what is a triptych?
A triptych is a work of art composed of 3 panels that are usually connected.
Alexa off. Okay, so here's a triptych that Francis Bacon, he's one of my favorite artists, sold for 142 million. And that's not the reason why I picked this color palette, but obviously we all know that we like to, learn from artists that have sold artwork that for lots of money. Obviously he didn't sell it. It had to come many years after, but I was really inspired by this very flat orange yellow background. So I am sharing that this is part of the inspiration for this color palette right now. And I really like this foreground here, that it's like this off green with some like splotchy areas on top. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to do that and like paint over this green, but I could tell that he must have used some darker color underneath, and then he built these light colors on top of it. And I don't know exactly how he achieved his colors. Of course, I haven't studied his work enough, but I think there are hints as to how he did it. I mean, look, you could tell that there's like yellow here, and then and I don't know if that's just from my screen or not, but you could tell that there's some transition between like yellows and oranges here, maybe some reds, and there's probably like an undercolor of like a dark green or something. Using this, I gotta turn off my blue light filter. I filter blue light because blue light's very bad for you at night, and I go at night a lot. So okay, so here's blue light filter. You can see some more greens underneath. You probably use like a gray or brown on top. So this is the first thing that inspired me as far as this color palette goes. I really wanted to go with this like this orangish yellow orange, along with I saw this green underneath, but I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to stick with this this same type of flooring. I might go with a different color. And then the other painting, and I'm just sharing that with y'all, that let's see the name of this painting. Triptych of Freud. So this is part 1 of a triptych. Let me see. So 3 studies of Lucian Freud. So this is that piece specifically was part of a 3-part painting. Was a triptych. Obviously, gotta remember this. The word triptych has the word tri in it, which means 3. That's how I'm gonna remember that. All right, so this is the first painting that is helping to inspire my overall color. And let me see if I can find the second one. It's another triptych. And what does triptych mean, everybody? Vocabulary? Triptych means 3 panels that have been put together for an artwork, for lack of in the most simple sense of explanation. I didn't know what that meant, so I'm just saying that for myself. Nobody else actually needs to know that. And where's the next one? Come on. Can I find this other one? Wow, lots of his paintings were painted in sets of 3s. That's awesome because, for me, I'm constantly doing these like different paintings and I merge them onto like one panel, but I think I could probably explore this idea of doing similar ideas on 3, the idea of a triptych. And I'm having a hard time finding the other set of paintings that I'm using as my explorational reference. Let me see if I can look up Francis Bacon triptych. Let's see. Does this work better? Here we go. Here's the other one. So I should know the names of these paintings. This is the other triptych at auction at Christie's. And it's sold for, well, the triptych set of, so these lithographs actually sell around 12,000 GBP. Is that British pounds? Great British pounds? Is that, I don't know what the G stands for in GBP, but Great Britain's pounds. So this is the other triptych I was inspired. I really like the flatness of color and then this use of like, he made a sense of dimension. He was able to create this sense of dimension, but also, make it pretty flat. Like he didn't over detail it. So if I am sharing exactly some of the references that I'm using as far as inspiring this piece, again, I'm no Francis Bacon. I'm not Francis Bacon. I'm not, trying to paint like him exclusively, but I do take some various inspirations from various works and how to do things. And so that's my goal, is to use the 2 references as far as the color design inspiration and some of the what do you call it, the dimensional design. So without getting into too much dimension, just kind of keeping it more flat, and that's what I'm working on. So building up this color here, it's more of a red, orange, yellow. Let me go right here. And you know what? In this section, I could probably leave just a little hint of yellow on this corner edge here. And yes, I'm going to leave a little bit of red in this corner edge here. Oops. No, that's not. That's being blended in. Okay. All right, so we've got these main areas. I feel like this could be just a little bit more this orange here. We're just gonna lay down a little bit more color here. I think the dominant color that's still wet in this section is like this green. So it's picking up a lot of the green because the paint is still quite wet. That's where we go, friends. That's where we're going for our inspirations here. And let me see, I'm gonna pick up some more of this color. I want to establish this zone. Okay, come on. Now I'm not going to I'm not going to mess with this cat's overall design. I'm not gonna like, paint over it in some unusual way. But I will have to like tighten it up. So let's see, we've got this. I'm gonna clean off this brush. Let's check out Alex Katz. Corey says, check out Alex Katz. Is this? I'll have to look at. I think I've seen Alex Katz. I think you showed me, right? He's the one that does like the animal carcasses, or is that the one? Alex Katz. Oh no. Okay, not that one. Who's the one that you were telling me that was like did like the mannequins, the really unusual mannequins? All right, Alex Katz, pop art. Cool, pop artist Alex Katz. Yeah. Oh man. So Alex Katz, I mean, definitely, capturing that super modern pop style of just these large areas of flat color. I will admit his art is a little bit too flat for my tastes. As in, the colors, like everything's just like so crisp. That art just doesn't appeal to me personally. I'm not saying it's like not good. The art where it's just like everything's so crisp just doesn't really resonate well with me. Although in a sense I'm kind of doing that with all these like straight edges, but these edges aren't even that straight. I see. I don't know. So out of curiosity, what made you say to check out Alex Katz? What did you? I mean, I shared what I'm actually taking away, but I'm kind of curious what you feel like I should take away. All right. So now we've got this color. I'm going to go into these green areas. And let's go over it with an overall white. I'm just going to go with a white. Got this yellow on my brush. When I mix my yellow with this green, it's going to probably just green it. But if I add a little bit of, just get a hint of this black. Just to deaden some of this color a little bit. I've got this really like steel gray. And you know what? Now that I'm going into this, let's just go all out and see what color. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'll ochre it just a little bit. Add a little bit of ochre, just a tiny hint of ochre into this. I should be using here we go. Let's see how this goes. We're gonna go, once I start, I'm gonna use it. By the way, if anybody else, all painted very quickly. And you know what? I think sometimes the hard edge paintings can be the quickest, but also, although it's quick, as I often say, like quick isn't always reflective of skill because, I mean, I guess it can reflect skill in the sense that quick usually means that something happened too fast, right? Like we all want to hear about the artist that took years and like hours upon hours to dedicate their skill to painting. But I think for an artist like Alex Katz, his power of skill is of knowing exactly where the right colors are, the design of everything, and then once he's figured out that design, he's able to just like so skillfully establish the color areas, know exactly what colors to put down, how to put them together. And when you say that he did it quickly, I'm like, he knew exactly what to put and where. That's what I wanted to mention as far as like reflection of skill. He knew exactly what to put and where, and that's how he's able to accomplish these really interesting paintings so quickly. So you know what? I've made a mistake here. I want to leave some of this green, leave a little bit more of this green. So I don't know how exactly I'm going to brush some of this away, but I should have left some space for the green to show through. Let me see if I can possibly do that. I would have liked to leave a little bit more color here. And we'll see if we can make it happen here. I think the secret is to get like a brushy look. Although, I haven't quite mastered this like technique of, well, I haven't really mastered anything, but I haven't really quite gotten a hang of how to like create this brushy look that is achieved in so many great paintings. And by brushy look, I mean, to have like little areas, spots of color peek through, but in like a very brushy way. Like in the classical paintings where you have the very bright dark black background, and the dark black background has like has like little specks of white or yellow in it. I haven't quite gotten that down yet. Dry brush on it with thin paint. Need to steel out this, make this color a bit more steely. Dry brush. Yeah, I was watching a tutorial today on how Rembrandt got some of his techniques, and he actually used it's this class on. I actually found this class on Udemy. It's a course on Udemy, and the guy's really interesting artist. He uses these. He made his own paint. He made his own ground, and he also. And I think what happened is, so what Rembrandt did, at least specifically, is he actually had, he used like sand. He actually ground up sand. Supposedly, this is the theory, that he would ground up sand, and then he would create this ground from it. You know what? This is actually okay. I'm justifying the darker shade of this area, because I'm actually seeing this, but instead of going too much into detail into the shadow, I'm just going to use this color to establish like a shadow area. But I also think it helps to have a much rougher surface, like sandy surface, so that you can actually like float the brush with my hand. Do you think, I don't think this brush would work though. I think I need a round brush. I'm using a flat or a what do you call this brush? A filbert right now. But let me share exactly what I meant by this brushy surface look. It's hard to explain with just talking about it, because that could mean like 100 different things, right? When I say brushy surface look. So brushy surface look. I mean, I think, you know, the art people know what I mean, but as far as in general, Francis Bacon art, this triptych. Here we go. So what I mean by brushy look, and I think both Michael and Corey know what I'm talking about, is because I mentioned earlier, is this look right here. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it's like a textured surface with some of the undercolors popping through. Whereas, you know, this part really flat, right? Flat color. Whereas this textured. So let me try that. Let me, gosh, I already started with this brush. It's gonna look so weird if I do a different brush. But let me go with the dry brush here. Let me see what I have for dry brushes. I think I need a round dry brush. So I don't actually know if this will be the best choice. This will be the best choice. It's a very like fluffy brush, but it's very hard. So I'm afraid that what's going to happen is it's just going to scratch the surface of the paint, but maybe that's what I want. I'm kind of curious to see how this look approaches, but load the tip of the brush and we'll see where this goes. Yeah, I'm kind of just scratching the paint off. Let's see. Yeah, how do I do this without just scratching paint off? This is the wrong brush, that's why. Okay, just wanted to test that brush out. I know I need a softer brush. That's the secret here. I don't even know why I have this brush in my good brush pack. I mean, this brush is way too hard. So I'm going to use this much softer brush. Let's see. Try to rub some of the paint off. Yeah, I can almost even see some of the white here, which means the green paint was still really wet. And I can already see that this part is kind of getting screwed up a bit because I was indecisive about color. Let's see how much more paint we could get off, and then just play around with this idea. No, maybe. Let's see. Let's spread this paint. Let's spread this paint using our fingers, and then we're gonna see where. Oh, I've already burnt the hole in this thing. Look at that little hole already came through. Scumble bumble. Dab most of the paint. No strokes, just tap or dab it on. Alright, cool. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's scrape off some of this paint. At least we get like a nice flat color here before we get started. I'm going to go like this, push off a little bit more. I want to push this color zone a little bit further up, just a little further up here before I do this. I don't know, we'll see what happens. I still don't know how or if. That looks okay. I would like this to be just a little bit flatter over there, but let's go with this brush and just see how this goes. Just dab the brush, load it, and maybe we could go with this, finding the right color here. It's still so thick, my goodness, still such thick paint. Maybe I need to create a little bit darker. I think we're getting there. A little bit too much black, too dark, but so from my understanding, I don't know if I could actually do it on this then, because scumbling, you're basically dragging dragging wet paint over an area that's already dry, correct? My paint here is not dry, which, you know, probably is a result of, you know, it's probably some of the problem here. So the green is still like mixing onto our surface, into our colors. I think my underpainting was pretty thick, but let's see, just keeping my brush loose here. I think I'm losing. Oh, no, I mean, it's coming up with a texture. But I think I'm losing some of the characteristic of it while not capturing exactly what I want. Maybe I need to add some better color. Add some blue into this, some more blue. Some blue instead of black, and building these color zones. Let's see. We'll have to call this area an experimental zone. There we go. Let me throw down some blue before I get too. I'm gonna go with an ultramarine because it's darker. Bring our ultramarine into this section, grab some of this color. And this is actually an oil pastel brush. So maybe that's part of the reason why, you know, it's really getting this thickness with the paint. Yeah, better perspective. Yeah. Well, that's what you're here for, right? To share some of your perspective. So anyway, let's keep going like this. I'm gonna keep working like this. Maybe something will come about. Surely something will happen from it. This is supposed to be a concrete sidewalk anyway, and I feel like this is definitely the wrong brush. I'm gonna switch to a different brush in a moment. This is an oil pastel brush, which is very soft. It's very soft. It's very soft, but it's almost a little too soft. So I need to find something in between here. Should I even bother? Sit for an hour and mull it over. Have some coffee and a cigarette will do. Yeah. Good old cigarette smoking. Maybe what I should do is I'll use this oversized brush. Let's try that. See what happens if we do a huge, big oversized brush. We're gonna go like this. I must paint quicker than I can think. You know, I could probably just lay down the big areas. Lay down the big areas of color here. I'd probably just lay down the big areas of color and then go back into it with a smaller brush. And see how this works. This will be more the experimenting. Admittedly, this just looks like a mess right now. It doesn't look like a fine artist's beautiful scumbling. But let's see. Maybe we will find some answers as we work. I'm getting some of the effect, but not necessarily exactly. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. Is anybody more lean and less fat to begin with? Overworking? I could be overworking. I could be overworking. I could be underworking. I'm definitely working very differently than I usually work. That's for sure. I usually work much quicker. And let me see. Let me play with a different color here. Let me experiment with bring some yellow into this and see how this yellow can transform this space here. Hmm. I actually think it's fair. It's actually okay. Oops, too much. I think it's okay. I think the biggest areas that need like work is like some of these extra darker areas, but the effect that I'm going for again is this effect. But I think this comes with a combination of like extra layers and letting certain parts to dry. As you can see, it's like it's almost cloudy in a sense, but it's got, you can see there's an underpainting, but you know, tons of brushwork on this, tons of brushworks, and you know, just this combination of like this color all around it. And I think that it's just going to take time of building layers, or let me see, maybe another brush will add to it. This brush almost never fails me. My favorite brush. It's this washes. Can't get that in one sitting. Yeah, it has to dry. That's what I thought. Yeah, so anyway, I do want to build some more of this texture though. So that's what we're gonna do. Let me do some more of this texture, because at the end of the day, it'll be interesting to see how this turns out later, and then we can just work from there. We can just let's get this bit of fluffiness. And then I can feel the I can feel the tension. Have you ever played a video game or watched someone play a video game and you're like, dude, just go left, and you're sitting there like watching them like be really bad at this video game, and you're just like, just give me the controller and I'll do it. And I kind of feel that. I'm like, Michael Wilbur is probably like, dude, just let me show you how to do it, man. But he can't obviously reach through the screen and use his hand to demonstrate. But I can like feel, I kind of get that sense from Michael. Now, obviously, he's not saying that, but and I'm exaggerating the tonality here, just for the sake of the sake of entertainment. But yeah, there we go. You know what? This isn't so bad. I actually like where this is headed. Maybe I'll throw in, not maybe, I will throw in a little bit of this red into here. And maybe this is just about building up in sections, you know, just building up in little sections. Michael, you can go ahead and say whatever, say all that your heart desires. Now, yeah. It's funny. You know what? I can totally be that person. Like, I've had to like pull myself away from it. Like, if I'm trying to teach somebody something, like for example, if I'm at work and I have to teach somebody something, I definitely used to like be the type of person that would just be like, okay, just let me show you, and then I would like, you know, demonstrate it. And the hardest thing would be to like do it a couple times, and then they would still not get it. And that's when I realized, you know, although I have, for the sake of workplace and keeping people motivated, I have learned to tone back on that. But at the same time, that's when I also realized that I do not make the best teacher, because, and why I prefer coaching instead. But I do not make the best teacher because of my desire to just be like, yo, let me show you. And okay, time's up. You know, let me show you. All right, time's up. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me do it for you. But you know what? I do like what's happening here. It's like this very, very sketchy, wispy, very wispy design that's going on here. And I just hope that I can have some more of this green. Let me actually re-add in some of these colors here. I have since lost a lot of color that I originally had. I think I was using this Viridian permanent. Let's use permanent green light. Who here is over analyzing exactly every color that I did over the past couple of days? No one, right? Maybe somebody. I don't know. But let me go with a little bit of this color. I'm going to darken it with our blue here, which means I probably could, if I'm going to darken it with this blue, I could have just probably used a Viridian and gotten the same effect. But let's go. I'm going to go darken these areas and then add some of these little pops into here. saying, I want to. Honestly, I'm just glad this is via the internet because I have done things in person. I have painted in person before, and then one out of every four times when I paint out in person, there's always this person that comes up and is like, hey, you should try this way, try that way. And sometimes they give good advice, and I am totally open to advice. I love hearing thoughts and feedback, especially live. It's amazing to be able to have, people that know what they're talking about and share things. And obviously, we've built this relationship, our little community that we've got going on. So we all know each other, and it's different than just a random person coming up to you being like, "Hey, you should do it this way." It's a little different, and it's nice. But definitely, sometimes in person, and then I've had this guy just literally just stand there. They just stand there and just no, not observe to just enjoy what you're doing, but observe because they want to give you their feedback, which is fine again. But it's one thing to like have this camera, a little bit of a separation versus someone that you don't know just popping up behind you to contemplate the validity of your artwork. So I think as these layers dry over the next few days, I may have a better time, as everybody in here has mentioned, a better time with developing this like look that I'm going for. I don't usually spend this much time to build these sections like this, so it is kind of interesting to see just the textures that I'll be getting as we build this up here. You know what? It's not bad. It's actually looking okay. But it does make me curious. If I had gone a different route and just made these colors super flat, if what the look would be. That's the other thing about art is like you can always do multiple paintings of the same thing, but it's like, what if I tried this direction? What if I went this direction? You know what? That's the beauty of art. Everything that you do creates a whole parallel universe, right? There's a whole parallel universe with everything that gets created because I could have made the choice to make this concrete white, or I could have just kept it totally flat, or I could have just gone very Van Gogh and like Van Gogh all over it, which means just painting straight impasto lines. But instead, I'm trying to go for this like textured look. Because it's concrete, I want to give it this design. But I think for now, probably just going to have to stick with this color. It's like grade blue. Let's see if we can add just a little bit more of a lighter tone to this so that it's not too different. I feel like both sides of these are a little bit too different. You know what? What am I going to do with these sections? Let me gonna go with here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do something similar, but I'm gonna go with hints of red, yellow. You're just giving the brush. No, use a hair blower. I actually heard that's actually pretty bad. Has anyone ever experimented with hair blowers on a experimented with a hair blower on this? Or is that the point? Like, dude, you messed up so much, you might as well just use a hair blower. There we go. Not a big fan of that. Maybe I need a brighter color here. You know what we're going to do right now is we're going to go give some streaks here. Just some upward streaks. I'm gonna add some red into this. Actually, I don't want to make it too red. I do want to dull the red a little bit into it, like a pink. Let's see if I could do that with this. Some of the white that I have left over. Oh, I have so much. So I use so much white. And let's see. All right, nope, that's not the color. Let's go. We need to grab some white. I need to not be lazy with my colors. What's a catalytic? Alexa, what is a catalytic?
The noun, Cadillac, can have a couple meanings. 1. French colonial governor in North America, founder of Detroit. 2. A city in NW, Michigan.
Alexa, off. Oh, don't they make a catalytic? I don't know what a catalytic is. The only tools I use are mineral spirits, walnut oil, and occasionally I use this, which, you know, I don't even really use this well. But occasionally I use solvent-free gel. It's a medium. It's not quite oil, but it's a little thicker than oil. But it increases transparency. I think I probably should have used this at the beginning. But ooh, I really like this though. This little bit of wet paint that popped up over here. I actually like that. And I don't think it could be achieved with a brush. I have to maybe I just have to be nice and bold with my dotting. Yeah, I could just dot this. Let's do a little pointillism. And by the way, I know that this is not real pointillism what I'm doing right now, because pointillism would just use a pure color on the surface and be very, very precise about their pointillism-ness. I did one day have someone get very upset at me when I did a very dabbing painting. I dabbed it basically, and I was like, here's my attempt at pointillism. Like, that's not pointillism. That's not even close. There's nothing about your painting that is pointillist. And they were very upset. And sometimes I wonder, I think artists can be very easily upset. So anyway, I learned not to call pointillism just dabbing painting pointillism. And I'm making up that voice. That was the voice I made up for this person, but the criticism was actually via Reddit, not on voice. And I made up the voice for them as to how I feel like they would have sounded if they had been near me in person. But I will say I do like this effect that this is having right now. You know, adding these like I think this will look great once this is dry and I can actually scumble it, as the many wonderful artists here have advised. You know. Is it possible? Here's a philosophical question. Is it possible to remove the ego from painting? Is it possible? Is that a thing that can be done? All right, and this makes me realize that I need some of this cerulean blue that I had. So I got my blues right here. Got my ultramarine, my white. Oh, this color is so beautiful. I love this color. So I purchased this color the other day. It is a beautiful cerulean blue. It is a beautiful cerulean blue hue. And by the way, I think what a hue, in case anyone is wondering, I think what a hue means is it's not actual like, ooh, it does contain lead. Wow, that's rare. So don't lick this painting. Do not lick this painting. So cerulean blue, I think what hue means is it uses like a certain material in it that doesn't make it just a regular type. I don't know. All right, let's go with this. I'm gonna grab some of this, and we're gonna bring some of this color into here. I love this brush so much. This is just a round brush, a very small round brush, a number 3 Serre 212, just a very small round brush that I have since frayed very badly. And for whatever, I use this for like everything. I love this brush so much. I need to get another one. I need to remind myself to get, and I tried to look for it to buy it in person, but I think I got it as a set with Rosemary Co. And I might be working these areas a little too much. I just want to see what this effect of adding these like brighter, just these more dense areas of paint on top creates this, creates this like visual brightness where the paint's like very glossy right on top of it. creates like this gloss. It's like finish that. That's a little too straight of a line there. And now that I'm thinking of this, I really want the surfaces to have these like transition surfaces, like, you know, a surface that's a little bit more textured, interposed with these surfaces that are much more flat in color, more darkness around the paw. I will definitely consider that. That sounds like a good consideration. So here we go. Let's go here. Maybe we create a line. Should we do some line work? No line work yet. I have to learn my lesson. Where I get in trouble is I'll like do line work too early, and because the lines I use are going to be dark, it like affects because the line work I do is really dark. It definitely affects the region around. Let's go. Let's go with some of the sky, shall we? We're gonna grab our white, and we're gonna go drop that down. It looks like, what color should I use into the clouds here? I'm basically gonna use this for the clouds. But since this color's still wet, I think what I should do is I should just start. It's not wet. It's not totally wet, but it is a little bit wet. And that's a little too much white, but we all recognize white in the clouds, right? So I'm gonna deaden. I'm gonna unwhiten some of this a little bit and just use like a yellow. Give Hollywood this golden glow here. And I'm not painting clouds. The focus point is the cat. The 2-inch brush and blend it all together. The focus point is the cat, yes. I'm painting all the stuff around the cat because I think that's going to help me establish a you know, I think the cat's going to be easy. Because I already have the main areas laid out, and once I paint the cat, I know that I can like be more free. I don't have like a tech like the cat. When it comes to the cat, I know what I'm going to do. Whereas with these parts, you know, I haven't really experimented with this flat style or this like textury, brushy surface. So that's why I haven't worked on a cat yet. I haven't really worked on a cat yet. I'm gonna save them for last because I pretty much know how I'm going to attack the cat. I've already got an idea how I want to approach it. So that's not as much of a concern for me right now. But I do want to make sure that a lot of this background, you know, I'm okay if I work on the wet cat. But I feel like with the background, you know, it helps us, the backgrounds establish so much detail that even though the focal point is a cat, I still want to create an ambiance. And honestly, do I really even want to? want to make these clouds overly detailed. I'm not going to over detail the cloud. I'm just going to create this like wispiness in the sky. That's what I'm doing. Wispiness in the sky. Very different than I usually paint. If I was painting how I would normally paint, I would totally impressionist the heck out of this and just paint really thickly, use a lot of paint on the surface here. Use a lot more paint on the surface and just go ham. But I'm working on doing a bit more subtlety. Just like these subtle transitions. Doing things a little bit different than I usually do it. Just get my mind to think differently and challenge myself in different ways. Paint the cat is the focus point. All right, Michael. In a few moments, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do this sky area. I'm gonna do this sky area and give it this. I call it the LA haze. Los Angeles has this like just this cloud like permanent like hanging cloud in the sky, which I think is mostly haze and smoke. Which reminds me, there's a huge fire going on in Los Angeles right now because of these massive winds that we're having. So made my my positive energies go out to those people that are being affected by these huge fires. If you don't know, but it really the air quality in Los Angeles is a constant struggle. Yes, I will involve you wonderful people a little bit more after this cloud piece. We'll go now I will admit, like, my knuckle here is, I have to like worry about this knuckle here because I'm doing too many I'm working from the hand as opposed to like the shoulder or the wrist. I'm getting like locking on my elbow. I feel like I should just find a way to be looser with this. Locking my right middle finger. Michael, can you check out my right middle finger for me? What do you think right there? How does it look? It's in pain. That's the little bit of timeout humor. All right, so let's keep building up this cloud right here. I'm just using a really small brush. Honestly, this brush is probably too small for this. It's gonna take me forever. I'm gonna switch brushes. Like, I do really, the one thing is I do really like the wispy effect that I can get with this brush because it's so small. But honestly, it's probably, let's find a bigger one. Here we go. Here's a brush that's a little bit bigger, and we could try to get a wispy effect from. It's turned blue. My finger is turned blue and wrinkled. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna use this bigger brush. Grab some of this yellow. We're just gonna go, oh no, that's a little bit of a dirty yellow. So let's grab some more of this white. Just want to capture this like Los Angeles. This Los Angeles, I don't want to call it haze. I feel like Angelenos are very sensitive about anything that criticizes Los Angeles in the wrong way, because you know there's so many transplants here that people who are like born and raised here feel like if anybody criticizes LA as like being too smoggy or having too many homeless people or any of those things, it's like, why don't you move out? Why don't you leave LA? Why don't you leave this town where I grew up instead of being part of the reason why the rent is so high? You know, I feel like a lot of native Angelenos have that feeling. Very very sensitive about criticisms of Los Angeles. But you know, they themselves, you know, love to talk, like to shoot the crap about Los Angeles, but it's very you can definitely get a sense of LA pride. But it is a very smoggy city. I don't know, it's not really a criticism, or it is a criticism, but it's a very smoggy city. And you know what you'll find is that there's like it's not clouds in the sky, it's just a little haze in the sky. But again, despite the smog from smokes and all these things, it is an absolutely great city filled with tremendous amount of culture, which is why so many people want to be here, and that creates a lot of the beauty. And we're going somewhere. Yes. So here we go. Need to add. I feel like I need to add denser paint right here, and I can allow this cloudiness to like evaporate off as we get higher into this painting here. But for now, I just want to build up the area right under it, right here. And you know what? Although I like to work very fast, you know, it is nice to kind of pull myself back and slow down and be able to just explore all of these different ways of doing things that take a lot of time, a lot more time. And just explore the fun of laying down paint for the fun of laying down paint. Just to see how it all comes together, just to build up a painting bit by bit. And how do I tackle this area? I need to go like this. Since the world is round, I guess the best way to do it is to sort of round this out. Make it disappear in a round way. It helps to constantly look back at the camera because the camera shows me things that I can't quite see here. Like, even if I take a step back, it's still hard to see some of the whole picture details. I'm working on not using as much white. I'm gonna grab some more of my yellow. I wonder if the sign of my, no, I shouldn't say it. I don't want to manifest. I don't want to manifest something that I don't want to manifest. All I will say is that my knuckle is sore right now, probably because of the way I'm using it. Nothing more. This would be see, here's the other thing. Washington State Fresh Air, Iowa, where the air smells of manure. So I was watching these tutorials today. As I mentioned, I was look on this Udemy course. I can't remember the teacher's name. I want to say his name is like Alex something, and he teaches Rembrandt. So and although I don't know if he's really got Rembrandt's technique down, he uses science to basically analyze the materials that Rembrandt used. I feel like as an artist, that guy is way too much of a perfectionist because he makes his own paints, he makes his own ground, he is very highly skilled at like the craft of painting, but as an artist, I didn't really feel that he had the full freedom of Rembrandt, and maybe not because he couldn't do it, but because he's trying to recreate something as opposed to create something spontaneously, and I think that level of detail that he had to pay attention really thrives as far as the class goes. Really thrives as learning about the old ways of doing things, the general methods, but not the actual technique and brushwork of Rembrandt himself. That's just my guess, though. I mean, even he said that Rembrandt painted very loosely and very boldly with bold color and everything, but I wasn't really getting that sense from him. But still, I mean, he does amazing painter in general, amazing artist. But I feel like if people are too perfect, they're more inclined to paint like Vermeer or Leonardo da Vinci, right? If people are too perfect as artists, Vermeer, Leonardo da Vinci, they're more likely to paint like I'm gonna pick a modern artist, Mark Maggiore, right? But if they are, or even I don't know, who's like an artist that everybody knows that's known for like super fine hard edge paintings. But the artist who is not a perfectionist, I think, is more likely to paint like, I don't know. I think the most obvious example that comes to mind is Basquiat or even Picasso, right? I mean, there's that type of energy that I think perfectionists can't really capture from the expressionists, and that there's a level of fine, clean paintings that an expressionist probably doesn't really have the personality for. So I'm not really criticizing anything as much as I'm just talking about how I feel about art energy and styles and things like that. So let's see how this is coming along. Philip Guston, Old Master. An old gold Gildan frame in the size of that painting, it will pop. Yeah, oh dude, golden gild. Thank you for the idea. I gotta put that on the list. So by the way, this is a pretty thick painting. It's about 7.75 of an inch. So I don't know if how I'm gonna find a painting that's gold gilded, or find a frame that's gonna be gold gilded of this size. But I might, I don't know. But let's go ahead and start to blend this out into this area up here. I'm just gonna clear out the skies a little bit. Add a little bit of white in the skies, but I don't want it to overpower this section here. Just to have this under color is enough to create that texture. All right. My goodness, why does my right knuckle hurt so much? Let's take a look. This is one of my favorite art books that I ever purchased. I found this in a used, so it's actually at a library. And, oh no, this isn't the book. This is not the book. Hey, babe.
Hi. No. Yeah. Hold on. Kitties. Hi.
That Guston, Leonardo is more mathematical estate sales. I'll find one. I am recording, by the way. So I wanted to pull up this book. This is one of my favorite books that I ever got on art, techniques of the great masters of art. And I found this on a used book sale at a library for, who wants to guess how much this book is? Because there's sometimes you go to used bookstores and they like know the value of their books. And they do not sell it for like below retail. They might sell it for like, a few dollars below retail. But I found this book for $9. $9. Oh, $2? Really? Well, no. But honestly, I think this book is worth way more. I found it for $9. And I pulled it up because I want to see if Philip Guston was in here. You can find the secrets of Philip Guston. But they didn't include Philip Guston in this version. Let's see. Liechtenstein. Bacon. Oh, Francis Bacon. Ah, well, hey, little did I know, the answers for him are right in this book. Let's see. Francis Bacon is 1905. He's before Paul, here we go. Let's see what it says about Bacon. My goodness. What can we learn about Bacon? Max Ernst. Francis Bacon. So I'm not going to bore everyone by going into this story. Let's see, landscape. They use a Chinese brush to create calligraphic strokes. Okay, yeah, this is incredibly detailed. Look at the confidence in that brushwork. This isn't his typical piece that I like to see, that I usually like of his, though. Lamp black, ivory, pure ultramarine to give intensity to the areas. Okay, giving intensity. Graffito, achieved by a bunch of brush strokes. Several areas, divisionist brushwork. Uses fingers to blend the paint. Okay, that's cool. Some traces of initial black construction. Let's see what other details we could pull. Seeing of the figure resting on the back of the chair to indicate the precise center point of the canvas. The figure's right leg is made to disintegrate in the foreground with vertical smudging. Du buffet. There we go. There's some du buffet for you. Bacon deep fried. Francis Bacon. Open it up. Yeah, Francis Bacon. So, I don't know. I don't think this is work that's totally reflective of the stuff that interests me most about his work. But let's see. The hands of the figure resting in the back indicate precise center point. Bacon often taught underlying geometry as a result of the training. Interior designer. Upper hand painted, smudged with thin flaked over raw sienna. Loaded, which had dried. A thinned flake white over raw sienna, which dried. Okay, that's cool. So, of course, you let it dry. Lower hand is merely drawn in with ivory black and is given some touches of thin white glazing. Black back has been brushed in as a horizontal line of pure viridian. Ivory and lamp blacks used beneath have been brushed into wet. flat side dragged across the area. So hey, as all the genius artists, the brilliant artists and talented artists that are in this stream right now, they were just describing the exact same techniques that Francis Bacon used to create his painting, Figure in a Landscape, 1945, 57 by 50 inches, dry brushing on top of these really dry things. So, wow. I am so glad that my live streams are filled with so many wonderful, brilliant, talented, and knowledgeable artists. It is absolutely amazing. So, there we go. So anyway, I did this white area. I'm going to go just a little bit further with this. I'm trying to look at it on camera to see how it looks, and I think I've got a good sense of like this LA cloud, this LA haze. That's just this like whitening effect on a background. I probably should have changed the color of this blue a little bit. But maybe I'll go into it with a little bit of blue later. That's a good blue, right? That's a good blue. And you know what? I'm going to steal Francis Bacon's idea. And instead of going with I'm going to go into this with the black. Let's create some intensity in our painting here. Actually, you know what? Forget that. I'm not ready to make that decision yet. Let me go in and paint this cat.
Hi.
Hey, babe.
How was your day?
Good.
I was driving. You didn't drive. Oh, you told me. You just gotta put it off. Can't. Not.
Don't let bacon push you around. Okay, cool. So let's do this cat. I'm done with this brush. I don't think I'm going to use this brush anymore for a little while. Let me clean this off. I don't want to clean it off. I don't want to use too much spirit or anything because I didn't really... The one thing about these really big brushes is like, they cost a lot of money. They could be used for a lot of things, but if you don't take care of them just right, it's like you lose them. You could lose them just as quickly as you lose any other brush. But also, I think the quality matters, and I think this is a high quality brush. This is a Royal and Langnickel brush. I think that's like a mid to high grade brand, right? Royal Langnickel. I can't remember if I got this at Michael's or if I got this at Blick Art Materials, but either way. Okay, let's get into this cat here. Let's do some cat work.
Meow.
I'm going to use a bigger brush. We're going to use this bigger brush, and we're going to go with black. Because I have so much black on my palette right now, but it's starting to dry up, and which means I should use it. And here we go. This cat has some just beautiful black fur. I'll go with. Just give him some dark black eyeliner, this black eye here. Give it an intensity. And stiff brush works best for scumbling. I will have to think about that. I gotta let these areas dry for a couple days. Well, maybe not that long, but they definitely need to dry a bit before I can really start to consider again how I'm going to scumble it. Or if I may not. I just may not do that. So here we go. We're gonna go straight. Like so. Give him some nice kitty eyeliner. Just to make his eyes nice and deep. Go and go with another eye here. Grab some more of this black paint. And normally I wouldn't use black around the eyes. But I really just want to capture some of the darker details of this cat. And it really helps to bring out the eyes quite a bit. And then I'm also going to bring this in. Let's go. Oh, I gotta click the reference photo again. Let's click this reference photo here. And let's add some more detail just to highlight some of the areas. We're gonna go right here. Let's see, he's got a little bit of a black on his nose. And my goal here isn't so much to add too much black as much as it is to just highlight certain features that are on this cat that make this cat so unique, that makes Bogart, this is the name of the cat, as you can tell, because his cat is in the Hollywood sign. His name is in the Hollywood sign. I love this detail. What? Alright, and here we go. We're gonna take this black and we're actually gonna go into the blue here. So these tails are actually blue, but we're gonna go darken his skin. Give him some dark features. He is one handsome cat, and I think that without like these super dark features added, it just would not totally capture the truth of this animal. So going over with some black. Eventually I will fix up this section, but for now, just incorporating some better details for the black areas. Yes, I'm using black. And I keep mentioning the color because I know that there is an entire huge community, huge number of artists who like think that no one should ever use black in a painting that has to do with a natural figure. You know, I think that there are artists who say that, and there's a lot of artists that would like agree, like on a natural figure you should never use black. But I am not part of that community of artists. Therefore, I will use black. And you know what? It is, and it makes sense because it really is a challenging color to work with in general. Because as soon as you put black on a painting, until it dries, you really can't work the areas around it. You really can't work the areas around it because it will permeate into every surrounding area. It just permeates. It will somehow find its way into the white, the yellow. If you don't let it dry. And that's the that will be the problem, is I don't know how long specifically I'm gonna have to wait before I can consider working this cat again, especially in the tail area. But you know what, it's not that big of a concern because what's gonna happen is I'm going to because he has, like, you know, with any cat, you're going to have, like, black fur anywhere. Just, like, popping up white fur, yellow fur, random section patches of, like, red and yellow and blues and whatever. So I'm not too concerned with, you know, when I do paint this, if a little bit of the color gets into other areas. Like, thing about... if I use like blue, right? I started with blue because it allowed me to obviously create the base color of this. And if I wanted to be creative with colors, I could have. But more importantly, I think if the color blue spreads, you know, people think, oh wow, creative choice. But if I use too much black, it can really affect the nearby colors. So anyway, just some thoughts to consider. So get some hog hair brushes. Yes, naturalism, black, box it black. Stiff brush. If I do black haired cats, the color is actually a very dark brown. That's right. The reason I shouldn't use pure black is that you lose depth. Good point. Are oil paint toxic? Good question. Makes the paint look as if there are holes in the surface. That's a good point, yeah. So the gloves, actually the cerulean blue said it has lead in it, but the gloves are mainly for the gloves are mainly for the purpose of not getting lead and cadmium and other substances on my hand. 2, 3, 4, and then between 4 and 5 there's some darker shadows. But yes, Corey definitely explained some of the reasons not to use black, and you know what, I agree, like, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I agree in the sense that yes, technically what black does is it definitely creates has an effect, right? It creates these illusions. Yes, I totally agree with that. I know. I totally agree. And here we go. So I'm gonna loosen up a little bit on the black. These were very dense regions of black, like very dense regions with black paint. But now as I start to move into the fur, I'm just gonna be a little bit more careful as I mix in some of the blues here. And I also need to be careful to, you know, focus on upward strokes and try to follow the movement of the hair. And let's go a little bit deeper with this. And we're going to follow the movement of the hair right here. And here's the truth, like, you know, I'm not even seeing a dark black in this section. So technically the black doesn't really need to be here. Now some areas there are definitely, you know, I definitely see some super dark shades of black. But other areas are much lighter tones, which I would probably use at some point this brown. These like dark browns, yes. As long as it's your way. Yeah. So here we go. Let's see what else we could do with this. This is a Y marking right here. We're just aiming to capture some of the more distinct markings here that I had originally worked with in blue, and now I'm just working with black just to densify some of the area. I'm using the black to create some more intensity, and as Omizu's mentioning, you know, black is definitely like one of those things where you know, it can look like it's creating holes. So part of me knows that at this point now, I have to be careful with how much black I continue to use, because I don't want to create too many holes in the painting, right? I don't want the black to be so intense that it totally pulls away from the painting itself. So that's just something I know I got to be careful of now, and somehow that will be reflected. I think this is actually picking up the undercolors anyway, which is great. And now I think I could pull back and turn this into like a white blue. Let's pull this here. Got our black here. But because there's this undercolor, oh wait, there's a perfect area of this darker tone. Let's see what color we got right here. So this is, yeah, there we go. All right, that can work. Actually, let's grab this black, and then we're gonna go around the edge of it, because there is a bit of an outline, which makes this much easier for this backside area here. And this paint's actually really quite dry. There's a cat on top of a train. No, it's not on top of a train. It is a so this is a post. This is a neighborhood cat, and in this neighborhood, this cat frequents this specific area, and this area, which I'm keeping the identity fairly not totally distinct, or I'm keeping the identity somewhat secret. Like, if you know the area, then you know the area, but if you don't know the area, but this is a very distinct neighborhood, very iconic neighborhood, and the street and this image is very representative of this space, but it also, I'm not making it totally realistic. I don't want to, make it about the houses or the walls here as much as it is. I want to define the cat and make it look just really interesting. Add some red to black. Good idea. I will pull up some red soon here. Let's see. What else can I create? Can I define a little bit better? This area around the side of his face. Actually, I have this gray. Let's see where else. Just want to make sure that I capture some of the key spaces here. This is going to go like right here. And then here we go. This paint is pretty dry. And I'm going to try to make this section a little bit more subtle as far as the black paint goes. Try to round out the back. I'm not going to make this two-dimensional. or I'm not going to make this overly detailed as far as light and shadow goes, but I do want to capture some of the main spaces of like shadow around them. And let's see, we're going to go right up here to the shoulder. And then we're going to go around the back here. Actually, go right up into this head. Got a very interesting head there. And let's bring in some of our yellow ochre into this. We're going to pull on our yellow ochre into our black. And we're going to create this really dark, like a darker brown. Well, I guess a brown or black is the better way of putting it. Brown or black. That's still pretty distinct as far as the color black goes. Let's see. Surreal painting. And here's the funny thing, like I actually kind of like it where it's at now. I feel like I should just like leave this and give him some personality and not spend too much time to get too into the realism of it. But I definitely think there still at least needs to be a separation between the Bogart wood. I need to tighten this up. I think I probably like messed with the trees a little bit. I do want to experiment a bit more with some of the designs of this space, but I do think that it's got like this, it's got this personality right now. It's got this personality right now that it's got a feeling. I like it. I like where this is at. And let's go up here. Oh yeah, we need some red. Should add some red, right? No, that's fine. Let me grab some of the yellow ochre. We'll ochre this up a little bit. Increase the ochre of this, the ochreiness, and we're gonna go right up. Oof. Yeah, let me grab some red. You know what? Instead of red, I'm going to use a sienna. I'm going to use a burnt sienna instead of a red. And just letting it flow. That's right. You just gotta let it flow sometimes. So here we go. I got this ochre or this burnt sienna, and I want this to be the color that we have. That's true. Who has never felt like they would be judged or potentially put down? Who has never felt that way? They are not a human being. let's go like this to develop. Trying to find a good place to continue using this darker color here. I think we could just go into the blue here and just bring some of this into it. How about that? Let's go bring some of this into it. Yeah, there we go. That's actually working quite well. Bring some of it into it. When you mix it with the blue, it creates a purple, right? Oh my goodness. We are doing visual math here. Color math. And this is perfect because our viewers, our wonderful viewers, have also stated their interest in seeing some purples. So we are achieving so many things today. Not only are people getting to share their ideas and have their thoughts collaborated, but they're also getting to be a part of we're all getting to be a part of a community of wonderful artists. So I got to be careful as I'm going around this corner here. I was losing the directionality of the brush. And we're gonna go into here. Where do we go? I think we need this purple to go into the paw area here. What were we trying to do here? Grab my sienna again. Actually, let's lighten our sienna with a little bit of this yellow. The Hollywoods, the Bogart Wood sign. Come on now, it's Bogart Wood, not Hollywood. This is Bogart's Wood. This thing just a bit further. And here we go. I think the hair around the eyebrows typically moves upward, right? So painted these regions. And we can probably actually use this to create the differentiated differentiated color for the eyes as it starts to move into the fur. So rather than using this black, as it moves into the fur, it becomes a little bit redder. Just to capture the subtle details of cat. And we're going to go into the ears here. And let's just use this color. It's a bit darker than the rest to create the fur around the side of his face here. I'm not going to go with the black here. At some point when we're ready, we will go in and do a bit more detail, but for now, just making sure that we get the color zones. And then here we go. Go up with this. It's a very distinct marking with this cat. Let's see, let's use an ochre to get some of the fur right here. And let's go a little bit darker with this. So going with a bit of a darker color for this little area right here, just around the shoulder, create a bit of a better definition for the hair. And let's see, I think now's a good time to darken this area around the eyes here. And because of the cat, there's so much detail as the fur, but you know, all I'm really doing is just capturing like the color zones, the very darker color zones. Start with a lighter color underneath. Oh, you're going to work on a painting too, Michael? Awesome, dude. Great. Amazing. Fantastic. How awesome is it? What are you painting? Can you tell us about your painting, dude? Are you able to share? Or is it confidential? Painting a mountain scene. The mountain is purple. Hey, if you want to share it, I'm happy to put it up here on the screen. If you want to email it to me, you can always email it to me. Or however you like to send things, it's up to you. Road leading the eyes up into the mountains. My goodness, that sounds awesome. Grab some more of this color again. I want to free up my brush here. I said free on my brush. What I meant was like create this space, or not use this thing. So just loosen up my brush a little bit is what I meant to say. Loosen up my brush work. Let's clean off this brush. I'm ready to clean off this brush. And let's bring in some, like, I think I will need a red. I will need a red. And a white. I don't want an overly red. I just want like a... Oh, you know what? I should just use the burnt sienna. Or the burnt sienna with white. I don't know what I'm thinking. Just use some burnt sienna with white. And whatever red I have left over. Yeah, there we go. That's perfect. Grab some of this Azo Yellow Deep to create a nice pinkish color. And bring this into the ears a bit. Create a fleshy color of the ears. Then we can keep the nose. The nose is cute. And add a little bit of... Let's grab this red again. Oh, and here's the thing. I can't go too much into the black. Or else it will pop into the brush. And let's see, a lot of red into here. Grab some more of this color. Grab some more white. Grab some more of our burnt, just a tiny bit of our burnt sienna. Maybe some of this red that I can possibly pick up from the other day. And somehow I really like how this, like, it's like a smoky feeling that I'm getting from this painting, and I actually like it. So I don't know how much I want to like work or rework this cat. It is a pleasant look, in my opinion. Give him his little red cheeks. You know, let's do some creative inspiration. Why do we want to go for super realism? Why would we want to do that? It's no fun. Let's capture the beauty of this cat. All these wonderful colors in it. The reds, the blues. And then we want some white. Let's grab our white. And our white is going to help us separate some of this black that we've totally created this dimension with. And let's add some ochre. I want to reduce the blueness of this. Just a little bit along the top here. Inner Feelings Community Cat, dead mouse at his feet. Yeah, you know, I was thinking, I was gonna ask the owner if they wanted me to do like, you know, like Picasso's cat. I probably should have asked. Like Picasso's cat, Picasso painted his cat eating a bird. Literally, like the very primalness of eating a bird. I thought it was brilliant. But I didn't ask, so. And I guess I could still put it in later, but I'm not gonna. Because this, you know, this painting isn't, well, I guess that could be a part of its personality, but I think, you know, it's not so much about like, I think when it comes to portrait painting, you know, there's something very specific that you want to capture as far as the personality is concerned.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, he likes to join me. He's even sitting on a napkin. Our kitten is sitting on a napkin. So yes, this is a private sale. Therefore, details are not discussed. But yes. Am I getting paid? Yes.
Okay. I will not talk about it. Yeah, he likes to impress someone, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mention that I was hired by the artist, or not the artist, the the owner of this cat. You bet. Put it in a state frame around it.
I still forget, but I know, it's been a long time.
Alright, here's what I gotta do. I need to take a break on the cat now.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. That's horrible.
You take a break with this color.
Matcha? Oh, oh.
And actually, you know what? I want to bring in this color. Add some white to create like a pale red.
Man.
Or pale yellow.
Oh.
We're gonna come into here. Give him some red yellows.
I can't believe you have to have brothers. What is wrong with you? What is wrong?
And here we go. We're gonna go right into here. I really like this orange, so we're gonna continue with it. But I'll make them cry. Go outside. There's some purple on yours. Throw that purple on there.
No one ever told the police or anything?
The cats are like, what's she gasping about?
Oh. Oh. So sick. Yeah, right. He suffered a horrible death too, didn't he? Trapped under a vehicle, a car. Didn't it fall on it? Ugh. Oh, that's horrible. But he deserved it, right?
And let's grab some white to highlight. I'm gonna go highlight around some of these areas here.
Oh, he did. Oh, I thought he died slow. I'm glad I spent much time around him. Yes, I know. We were so happy. We wanted to kill him, but not to. Yeah.
Can y'all hear what's being said in the background? Oh my goodness. It's funny.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Yes. Oh, wait, hang on. Yes, I'm sorry I haven't been to Williamsburg, but if you come here, you'll be fine. It's like three hours.
Let's go with a darker blue.
We had so much fun. I just had so much fun, like for Sunday night.
We'll go darker blue in here.
Party for like find people who want to go very easily. That's the part. Good. Good. But I can't go all the time. I love to do this. Okay, good. Good. Yes. 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 Right. Me either. Yeah, just a couple. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks for calling. Okay, love you.
This one needs to curve up a bit more. Need to curve this.
Cute.
And then let's go with, I'm gonna clear a little bit of black area right here.
Want to try something? Yeah.
Left leg needs outside detail. What do you mean by left leg needs outside detail? Oh, you mean like right here? Yeah, there needs to be. I will work on this section right here in a bit. I think once I work over this space, this rail that he's sitting on, it's going to create a dimension. We're going to have some more dimensionality. But thank you for all the suggestions, Michael. I really do.
Something new.
If we were, I will be honest, if we were in person and I didn't know you,
Zippo.
and you just happened to pop up behind me while I was plein air painting, and you're just sitting there looking at me, telling me everything that you're telling me, I probably would be annoyed. Only because if you don't know how people react, when they're just like staying there. But because this is online, I think things like this is possible, where you can be open to people sharing their ideas, people sharing their thoughts. Other artists who know what they're doing that can like pop in and give you a second eye. Like, it's amazing to have a second eye on the work you do. Like when you write a book, you have friends read your book for you. When you have a script, a screenplay, you have friends read your screenplays. But I think very very few people are able to have a painting where you can get input from friends. Yeah, in real life, if it was the first time that I ever met you and you just happened to pop up behind me and just like sit there watching me, I mean, I don't think I would punch him. I do not condone violence, but I would be very, very cautious. I'd be like, why is this guy standing perfectly behind me looking at my painting, telling me all these things, That would be a concern. But I think overall, in this context, it is totally fine and appreciated. In this context, specifically. I have this green. Let me grab some of this green. Oh, no, that's black. Let's whiten this green here. Got this right here. I'm gonna give him a little bit of pistachio in this section here. I do not condone violence on my channel. For the record. Now, what would actually happen in person, I don't know, but as far as what I say on my channel, that is my stance and I'm sticking with it.
Good? Simba, come eat. Come on. Let's go, buddy.
Kathleen Roy, are you okay?
Yeah.
All right, good. Just thicker layers of paint here to capture the hair and the ear. Follow a fellow YouTube live streamer and he tore this guy a new one when the guy suggested how he should felt uncomfortable just watching. Huh. Wow. That's funny. And you know, again, like on one hand, I think artists should definitely have like a sense of humor. Like, geez. You know, especially if you're gonna live stream. But
Is it good? Is that enough? I'm experimenting.
on the other hand, it's like,
Something different.
you know, you don't watch Beyonce and tell Beyonce how to sing and dance, right? Like, I don't know if that guy's like Beyonce, a diva. But some people are divas. Divas. All right, let's go. What do I need to do right now? I really want to separate this from this. So here I've got this like just a slightly orange yellow. And back here I've got this slightly orange brown. And what I want to do with it is I would like to go over this oh wait, hold on, I gotta touch up this top part of the ear here. Timothy, what's up, dude? Call him the paint diva. And you know what? That's their personality. There are divas in this world, right? There are definitely divas in this world. And some people build their entire personas around being a diva. And if they're able to succeed from that, more power to them, in my opinion. Let's see. You don't tell them. Oh, you just don't tell them how to paint? Yeah. You have lots of brushes, so you let them paint on the paint diva. You like how the colors I'm using match the outfit I'm wearing, the warm yellows and oranges. Cool. Hey, thanks so much, Catherine. Appreciate you. Timothy John Luke Smith. If someone tells an artist how to paint on their live stream, it's definitely a breach of etiquette. Okay, cool. Where's the opposite of brown? Use blue. Beautiful cat. Thank you. Thin line of phthalo blue. Honestly, he's a pretty good guy most of the time. Well, that's cool. That's good. Yeah, I'm sure. You know, and of course, everybody, we all have moments when sometimes Sometimes we're just not in a mood, right? Sometimes we just get moody. People get moody. It's a fact of life. And I just want to capture this area around the nose right here before I start on another section. This area around the mouth is very white. Michael, is that the only reason why you're here is because you get kicked out of every other live stream for telling people how to paint? Imagine if that was my audience. Like, people who get kicked out of every other live stream because they try to tell the artist to paint. Wouldn't that be a funny audience to have? Live streamers like yours is a great opportunity to see the world through another artist's eyes. Right on. Thank you. What a great perspective. That's beautiful. Some beautiful words, my goodness. Poetic. That would be a hilarious audience. And I don't know if it's a good thing or, I don't know. If it's a good thing or a bad thing. Live stream. Michael has been kicked out of every other artist live stream because he likes to tell the artist how to paint. Oh boy. Michael. Now I'm finally figuring out where you're coming from. The secret is out. You can no longer hide your true reason you're here. Now, you know what also would be funny? Is like, take the opposite of your friend, the other artist that you watch. Like, take the opposite of him. Someone who's like, you know, totally fine with like people talking about how to paint. And then like give them an audience, like this one guy in the audience who's like so protective of that person, and is like, how dare you try to tell Pablo Picasso how to paint. That'd be interesting too. All right, Kat, is this a hint that dinner's almost ready?
It is almost ready. It's not
Okay.
yet.
Okay. All right, well, folks, dinner is almost ready for us. So I may be signing off here in just a few moments. By the way, here's a surprise that I'm going to share on my live stream only. If anybody wants to see my references, I'm about to share it. So this is how I built out my reference. And I'm actually going to end with this just for a, and then all of you can judge me on how accurate or inaccurate it is. That's one reason why I don't actually like to show references, because then people are focused on how accurate it looks versus how the actual artistic, what?
So beautiful.
Thank you. Versus the artistic endeavor behind it. So I started off with, of course I had my references already, but I'm going to start off with this. I'm actually going to take a break in a minute. That's why I'm wrapping up with this. But we started off with this. Well, actually I started off with the reference, put it together, and started off with a bunch of sketches just to figure out the layout and how I would do it. And I ended up with this, wanting to put the cat like more centered, create a big perch from him to lay on. Went to this bigger piece on a piece of paper and then resketched it all out so you could see how this became this. But if you want to see the actual references, by the way. Oh, did Catherine say something? She has the same color as Michael, so I can't see that the pink is different than Michael's. And I'm actually trying to ignore Michael. Totally kidding, Michael. I'm not trying to ignore you. It's just when I see your words, I'm like, oh, okay. He's probably trying to tell me what to do, so I can ignore it for like 5 minutes. All right. Hey, thanks for the sub, Timothy. Appreciate you. Let's see. So Michael, Catherine says, first time watching a YouTube live stream. Must have been living under a rock. You didn't know these existed. Glad. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in, Catherine. Of course, check out Omizu's too. If you want to like just totally inundate yourself with some amazing artists, Omizu Paints, OMIZU_PAINTZ also has a live stream. We usually do live streams at the same time, in the same windows too as well. And Dondro Lee Artistry, who's not here, but yes. Let me clean up my brushes. I think I'm done for the night, but I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I forgot to show y'all my reference. So this is my collection of references that I have using an app called PureRef. So I did not make this all up from the brilliance of my own imagination, where I just made up every single detail and put it all... Oh, shoot. My laptop has reached a point where if I don't keep it plugged in, it won't stay on. So let me see if I can... Why won't my laptop stay on if I don't... The battery's fine. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay, it worked. Okay, never mind. I don't know. Let me rearrange my reference to show the original concept here. All right. So just so y'all can see what this is based off of. These are reference photos that I took. I was provided with the information on this cat, this wonderful cat right here. This is who we're based on. He is an iconic cat in this neighborhood just outside of Hollywood Boulevard. This cat, he's an iconic cat. Here, so y'all can see what he looks like. And as you can see, if we pull back, this is one of his perches. So I basically put him on top of this perch, made that up. I'm making up the colors of these buildings because I'm using this reference up here. This is a Francis Bacon painting. I'm using his colors and his like design as an inspiration for like, you know, my more flat. Usually I paint very abstractly and use lots of paint, and it's very much more expressionist, but now I'm going for something a little cleaner and tighter, inspired by Francis Bacon's color palette. You know, this like greenish yellow, green yellow. And of course, I did take this photo myself. Went to the Hollywood sign, took it myself. And yeah, so spraying on Vespa. So here's another reference of the cat. And then some more reference photos. So for anyone wondering how I put this all together, that was the work. Now I think like a super good artist, super artist would be like, you know, they actually put the cat where they want to paint them, and take a super high quality photo exactly how they want to do it. I know there's a great artist who paints portraits of people, and he basically literally goes out, takes the photo exactly how he wants the photo and the painting, and then he'll just paint that photo, but he goes through the effort to create these beautiful portrait photography sessions for these models, and that's how they do it. But that is the story of how this painting is coming about. I am starting to wrap up now, but I hope all of you at least get a few more minutes of creative conversation. Isn't that wonderful? Just a little bit of creative conversation can go a long way. Whether you feel inspired or more creative, or you get some ideas. Here's the funny thing. One thing that I really gained from art school, and I didn't go to like a 4-year art bachelor's program. I went to a digital art school to study concept art for a little bit, and and I went to a bunch of other like online, course trainings with mentorships and everything. And I think the greatest thing that I learned, I'll just share this as well, is just realizing the way people work is that there's a lot of room for error and a lot of room for building your own references, and it's okay to use references. Honestly, just 5 or 6 years ago, I used to believe that some of the greatest artists in the world would literally just like sit and make crap up, for lack of a better term. And I'm sure there's a lot of great artists that do that, but I think that's so far from the truth, where most of the greatest artists in the world actually sit down with a photo or a model, or maybe they might have sketched a person 100 times or looked at photos of them 100 times before they decided on their final design. But that's something that, as silly as it sounds for me today or any other art person who paints figuratively, a lot of it comes down to having references. But I don't always paint with references. Personality. I learned to paint within the lines. Yes, I learned to paint just within the lines and outside of the canvas. All right, so Catherine. Oh, retracted message. That's okay. So there we go. I hope that was informational, informative. I want to say I'll be back later, but I don't know. I think like once I eat my dinner here, I'll be about ready to get ready for tomorrow. So we'll see. But hey, I hope I don't know if Omizu is gonna do a live stream. I don't know if you're gonna do a live stream after this, Omizu. But hey, everybody, you have somewhere else to go. You can go stream hopping. Stream hopping is actually a thing on Twitch. I don't know if y'all know this, but on Twitch, you can basically do something that's called a raid, where a live streamer who is signing off can like take their entire group of viewers and then pull them into somebody else's live stream. It's kind of cool. I like that. But you can't really do that here. YouTube has not done the best job of stream community development, where they could do better with some fun stuff like that. But yeah. Oh, you're probably gonna make dinner? Okay, well, by the way, I'm almost done with the painting that we worked on, that we're doing for the trade. I still have so much work on this painting. I can see all the things that I must do. But thanks everybody for tuning in, stream hopping. Most channels are crazy people mentally whipping themselves. What do you mean, Mike? What do you mean, Michael? What do you mean by mentally whipping themselves? Can you define self-whipping? And are you talking most art streams, or are you talking just like in general? Yeah, hey, take care of those illustrations for sure. Oh, so yeah, okay. Well, that's no fun. I don't like to be around self-punishing people. But like I said, it is about that time to wrap up for now. I'm painting for quite a bit. So, hey, thanks for being here, y'all, and I hope you all have a great day.